Hello guys, MadHooker here. In this video, I'm gonna give you 10 must-do combinations that you have to memorize to be effective in boxing or when you're sparring or fighting. Because one of the biggest complaints I hear from people, especially when they start sparring, is I don't know what to do or how to attack or what combinations to do. So it's very imperative that you memorize certain combinations. And I like to focus on, when I'm attacking in combination, on the 3-count punch combination. The reason why is, about time I get done with my third punch, my opponent is usually already moving or countering, so I can transfer easier to footwork or defense. So the first combination we're gonna focus on is just a simple jab, cross, jab. So out of my fighting stance, I'm gonna be in my stance. So it's important when you throw the jab, I'm not gonna throw the jab with my head on the center line like this, because my shoulders in my outside stance are at a 45 and my hands are up by my face. So when I step in on the jab and drive off that rear foot, I'm gonna get my head offline, okay? And it really drives that lead shoulder into my jab. Also, by getting my head offline, it adds more power to my rear straight. So again, the jab, cross, jab. So I'm gonna step in, jab, head off line, rotate, pivot on that rear foot, cross, and then from this position here, remember on your cross, I'm gonna sink down or sit down a little bit out on it, and then out of that position, I can come with a hard jab to the head. So again, in the air, I'm gonna step in, jab, cross, jab. And then I want to be defensively responsible after my last punch by either moving my head or moving my feet. So I can step in, jab, cross, jab, and then I can move my head. Or I can step in and go jab, cross, jab, and I can move my feet. I can pivot, I can twist, I can spring, I can just circle step out. But I'm always being defensive after my last punch. Now let's take a look at it on the heavy bag. It's important when you're using the heavy bag that you spend time working on technique and muscle memory. So when I'm in front of the heavy bag, I'm not gonna start from the improper position, okay? So if I'm too close, I should not be throwing straight punches. I'm too close, I should be throwing hooks and uppercuts. I wanna take a step back, all right? If I extend the proper distance for heavy bag training, if I extend my lead jab out, it should not even come close to touching the bag. That's where when I know I'm at the proper distance, just like in sparring. So what I do from here, I extend it out. See, it's about a good solid 12 inches from the bag. From there, I can drive off that rear foot and step forward on my jab, not only adding power to it, but also covering distance to reach and score effectively on my opponent. So again, in front of the bag, extend it out. I'm gonna drive off that rear foot, get my head offline, step in, throw the jab, and see how I'm kind of crouched a little bit, and then I'm gonna rotate on that rear foot, throw the right hand, and then from this position here, I sink down a little bit on the right hand, and I come out of it with that power jab. So again, I'm just gonna stay nice and relaxed and loose and start from the proper position. So I'm out here, making sure you breathe out when you punch. Breathe out on your punching. You don't wanna hold your breath when you're punching. So again, in front of the heavy bag, you know, just go nice and smooth, focus on proper technique, and then work on speed, and then add power to your punch. That is the first combination. The second combination, go-to combination that I like, remember we'll focus on 3-count, is the standard jab, cross, hook. Same thing applies, I just previously talked about. I'm gonna step in, get my head offline with the jab, pivot and drive off that rear leg, rotate the shoulders into that right hand, and then I sink. Remember, I sit down on my right hand, now I'm in that preloaded position. I can spring off that lead leg and turn into that lead hook. So again, I'm gonna step in, jab, cross, hook, and then I can move my head after my last punch or move my feet. So in front of the heavy bag, same thing. I extend my jab out. If I'm about a foot away from the bag, that's the distance I want to practice on when engaging the heavy bag, because that's what it's like when you're sparring. So I'm from here, I'm going to drive off that rear leg, step in, head off line, rotate in, fully rotate into that right hand, and then I sit down on my right hand, and then I'm gonna come out of it and drive with that lead leg into the lead hook, and then I can move my head or move my feet after my last punch. So just to perform it a couple times, I'm gonna step in, jab, cross, hook, and then I can move my head either a couple times, or I can circle out and move my feet, depending on what my opponent does, okay? Or my strategy. If I want to stay on the inside and keep fighting, I'm going to probably move my head. If I want to go in and out, I'll probably move my feet. That is combination number 2. Combination number 3, instead of throwing the hook to the head, I'm going to throw the hook to the body, because what can go to the head can go to the body. So again, in my fighting stance, I'm going to jab, get my head off line, okay, rotate fully, rotate with that rear straight. But this time I'm going to drop a little bit more. Sit down on my punch, because I want to be able to come up with that hook to the body. Now there's 2 ways you can throw a hook to the body. I can throw like a shovel hook where the elbow's more in, or I can throw an outside hook to the body where the elbow flares out. Okay, that's good for hitting around the elbow. I like to throw shovel hooks. I'm not a big fan on outside hooks. Now, if I get to the side of my opponent and my opponent's here, I might be able to rotate more into an outside hook, because this one won't work anymore. So again, I'm going to jab, cross, drop on it, come up with that body hook, and then I can move my head, or I can pivot out and move my feet. So on the heavy bag, combination number 3, I'm going to step in. Remember, I got to measure, make sure I'm at the proper distance. I'm going to step in, jab, cross, drop on it this time, and then I'm gonna come up with that body hook to the liver, and then I can move my head, or I can use footwork and create space. That is combination number 3. Combination number 4, now we're gonna start hooking off the jab. One of the best ways to set the hook up is the hook off the jab. I actually like the hook off the jab versus the jab cross hook better. So from your fighting stance, same thing. I'm going to step in, drive off that rear foot, get my head offline, drive that shoulder forward on the jab. Now I'm going to bring the hand back about halfway, and then come out of it with a lead hook to the head, and then rotate into that rear straight to the head. So again, now there's a couple different things you can do with the footwork. I can step once, hook cross, or I can double step on it, so I can step on the jab, step on the hook, and then rotate into that rear straight to the jaw. Now, there's also 2 ways you can hook off the jab. So I can, what we call is more of a speed hook. You can bump it. So what I mean by that is I jab and bump, jab, bump. See, I'm doing that jab, hook. I can bump it, or you can load it. Okay, I like to add a little load so I can get a little bit more momentum into the hook. So I can jab, bring this rear shoulder forward a little bit, and then hook. I'm not jabbing and coming way down here and then coming up. That's something different. These combinations are attacking. Remember, I'm attacking my opponent, so I got to have a good amount of speed to get to my opponent. So again, I can bump it, jab, hook, cross, and then move my head, or I can load it a little bit. I can go jab, hook, cross. What I like to do, a tip is, if I know I'm going to hook off the jab, I'm going to crouch down a little bit. I'm going to drop down a little bit when I step in and jab. Instead of just stepping in with a normal jab, I'm going to actually crouch down a little bit, because that's going to load up my legs and add a little spring to them, where I can just straighten the legs out and come with that hook to the head. So on the heavy bag, remember, you got to be at the proper distance, 12 inches away. So I'm here, I'm going to step in, jab, hook, rotate into that cross. Again, I'm going to step in, jab, hook, rotate. I can bump it, jab, hook, cross, move my head, or I can load it, jab, hook, cross, where there's a little bit of a broken rhythm in there. So that if I bump it, it's a 1, 2, 3, or 1, 2, 3 rhythm. If I add that little load in there, it's almost like a 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So that is the 4th combination, hooking off the jab. The 5th combination was still hooking off the jab, just like the 4th one, where I go jab, hook, cross. Now, instead of hooking to the head, I'm going to hook to the body. So again, I'm going to step in, jab, get my head offline. Okay. Now, remember, I'm going to shift now. I'm going to bring this forward, this shoulder forward in what I call a forward slip. I'm gonna bring this shoulder forward, pull this one back, and then I'm gonna come up with the body hook, okay? So again, I step in, jab, slip, body hook, and then I'm gonna load again and then come with that hook to the head. So the double hook. So again, step in, jab, head off line, forward slip, hook to the body, load, hook to the head, and then I can move my head. On the heavy bag, proper distance. I'm at least a foot away from the bag so I can step in. I'm gonna step in, head off line, slip, throw the hook to the body, load, throw the hook to the head. Now, it's not a big load, or it can be a big load, depending on what you want to do and how you like to do it. So let me show you a kind of a short load. So I'm just gonna jab here, bop, bop. You saw I just hit. I hit, bring this shoulder forward a little bit, and I come again. That's more for speed. But if I want more power behind the double hook, I'm gonna step in, jab, I'm gonna hit a little bit more load behind it. And then make sure you move your head after your last punch or your feet. Now we're gonna move on to combination number 6, and we're gonna start attacking the body. One of the best ways to attack your opponent is to go downstairs and then come upstairs. So that's just combination number 6 is, I'm gonna step in, head off line, then I'm gonna drop and rotate and throw that body cross, that straight right to the body. So I squat down, and then out of the squatted position, I am perfectly loaded to come up with that left hook, that lead hook to the head. So again, I'm here, I'm gonna head off line, step in with the jab, drop and rotate into that body cross, and then come up with the hook to the head. So on the heavy bag, this one's a little tricky you gotta do because you don't wanna crowd yourself too much on your body cross. You wanna get full rotation on it. But if you get full reach on that body cross, you're gonna have a hard time getting in with that hook. So I like to shorten the body cross up a little bit because ultimately I wanna set up that hook to the head. So in front of the heavy bag, proper distance, 1 foot away from my glove in the bag. So that gives me room so I can step in. I'm gonna drop and rotate that straight to the body. And look how I'm loaded. And I'm gonna spring out of it with my legs driving into that lead hook to the jawline. So again, step back. I'm gonna step in, jab, body, hook, and then I can move my head or I can move my feet. You choose. That is combination number 6. Combination number 7, we're gonna continue on attacking the body, going low and then going high, or in this case, we're gonna go low and stay low and just really drive and attack that body. So from my stance, okay, I'm gonna step in, get my head off line. I'm gonna drop down now to a rear body hook. Now, mind you, I gotta do this at the proper distance. I can't hook too far out or it's gonna turn into a swing and I'm not getting the reach and have power on that rear body hook. So I gotta get closer, but I'm gonna drive in off the jab, drive in on the jab, drop and rotate into that hook to the body. Now you can have different hand positions on this. You can have thumb up, 45, or you can do more of like an uppercut slash shovel hook to the body. I like to have it right in the middle of my thumb and fist at a 45-degree angle. So again, I step in, head off line, I'm loading that body hook. I drop and rotate into the hook to the body. Now this time I'm gonna come up with that lead hook to the body, to the liver. So again, I step in, jab, hook, hook. And I come up with that hook and you see how I get my hook, my hip, that hip hinge, that upward surge into that left hook to the body. That's how I get power. I drop and rotate and then come up with my hip, my body acting as one unit as I hit the target. So in front of the heavy bag, proper distance. I'm gonna step in, jab, head off line, rotate into that hook to the body, getting my head outside his shoulder, and then coming up with that hook to the body. So again, step in, jab, hook, hook to the body. Then I can move my head or move my feet. That is combination number 7. Combination number 8 is very similar to the previous combination. I'm gonna step in, jab, head off line, drop and rotate for that rear hook to the body. Now instead of coming with that lead hook to the body, I'm gonna spring out of that position with that lead hook to the head. This is one of my all-time favorite combinations. I love dropping down body, head with the hook. So again, step in, jab, drop and rotate, and then out of the squatted crouch position, I spring out of it with that lead hook to the head. So on the heavy bag, I'm going to be here. Remember, proper distance. I'm going to say it every time. You got to punch at the proper distance. So I'm going to step in, jab, drop and rotate to the body, and then come out of that with the left hook to the head. When you're corkscrew, your body is corkscrewed down to the ground when you throw that body hook, and then you can come out of it with the hook to the head. That is combination number 8. Combination number 9, we're going to introduce the rear uppercut. So from your fighting stance, this is a difficult punch to master and a dangerous punch to throw on the outside. Typically uppercuts, when you're in close, are thrown in close with your opponent. But if you attack from the outside with the uppercut, you just got to be very careful and make sure you don't get countered, because you can get countered with a left hook rather easy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drive in with that jab, get my head offline, which preloads the uppercut. Okay, from that semi-crouch position, I'm going to drop my hand down into the pocket, come up with the uppercut under the jaw or to the nose, and then I'm going to turn and rotate into the hook. The theory behind this combination is to raise their head up with the uppercut and then hook them in the jaw with the hook. So again, I'm going to step in, jab, rear uppercut, lead hook to the head. Now the rear uppercut can be thrown at 2 different angles. So if I turn to the side, I get in that crouch position, drop it down, the uppercut can come straight up, like up and under the jaw, especially if I'm in close to my opponent, or if I'm a little farther out, it can shoot up at a 45-degree angle, aim at the base of the jaw. So again, on the heavy bag, proper distance, I got to step in with the jab. Remember, the jab bridges the gap. The jab gets you close to your opponent where you can unload your combination. So I'm going to step in, head off line, drop the hand, fire that uppercut to the head or the under the jaw, and then come back with that left hook. Remember, when you rotate, I'm going to get my hips and everything into that uppercut. When I'm in this twisted position, I unravel and then come with that hook to the head. So again, from the outside, I'm going to step in, jab, uppercut, hook to the head. Now hitting the uppercut on the heavy bag can be kind of difficult because it's a flat surface. But if you do that 45-degree uppercut, you can just drive it straight in. Or you can actually just come up the middle like you're gonna almost hit your elbow on the bag, like you're driving your opponent's head up, and then you can rotate into that left hook or lead hook to the head. Combination number 10 is gonna, again, utilize the rear uppercut. So I'm gonna step in, head offline, jab, drop the hand down into the slot in that crouch, kind of semi-crouch position, bring up the uppercut, and this time I'm gonna rotate back with that hook to the liver. So again, I'm in my stance, okay? I'm gonna step in, jab, uppercut, and I'm gonna pivot and rotate like this, okay? And then I'm gonna come back with that hook to the liver. So again, in front of the heavy bag, proper distance, I'm gonna step in, jab, uppercut, and then rotate. I'm just gonna rotate right back to that liver shot. All right, I'm not throwing the uppercut and I'm not loading the hook, which I can do, but if I want speed on the combination, I want to be able to throw it right away. So again, in front of the heavy bag, step in, jab, uppercut, hook to the body. That is combination number 10. The best way to train these 10 combinations is to take one combination at a time and either do it for a full round, or you can do it by repetitions. For instance, let's say I put a minute clock on. I'm gonna do the first combination, jab, cross, jab, move around the bag, do the whole round, whether it's 1 minute, 2 minute, 3 minute, just working that single combination, working on speed, power, and my form. And I can go through each of the 10 combinations. That's a 10-round workout right within itself. So I can do it by the round system, or I can do it by repetitions. Okay, Bruce Lee used to do a lot of repetitions, because if you look at Bruce Lee's training diaries, he would have like 500 punches, 500 left punches. You know, he'd do repetitions on his punches. Okay, so instead of doing a full round, maybe I'll do 10. 10's a good number. 10 of the first jab, cross, jab on the heavy bag. I can do it shadow boxing. If you got a partner that can feed you mitts, You can do these combinations on the focus mitts or pads, especially if you got like the body armor and the pads. That's a good way of doing it too, because when you do pads, you can add movement and other things, but you need to just slow things down, break and focus on individual techniques like these combinations, and you want to memorize them. Because what's going to happen if you memorize these combinations, when you go to spar, okay, now you have 10 combinations you can attack your opponent with, okay? And then there's different strategies you can use to set these combinations up. Like I might jab, I might fake low and then step in with a jab cross hook, okay? There's all those different strategies and tactics you can use for sparring. So that is it, guys. Do yourself a favor, memorize and spend a lot of time working on these 10 basic combinations that start with the jab.